Hello, Dahi here from Timeslip Softworks. Welcome to the 33rd development video for Vigilantes. In this video I'm going to cover the updates which have been made to date for version 15. The first thing I'd like to show you is one of the new mission types. In this mission your objective is to prevent a group of survivalists who have just robbed a bank from fleeing the map. Now not all of the enemies are fleeing. There's an icon up here, we'll replace it by the time the build goes live, which shows you which ones are basically going to try and run away. So I'll try and take a shot at this character to see if I can hit them. The characters are kind of low, they don't have much skill points yet, they haven't been, they're low level, so they probably don't have a great chance of hitting these characters, but let's just see. So I'll just try and stop this character from leaving. That's a hit on them. Now what that means is they'll actually be heavily wounded now because they've got so little health. This kind of works pretty well with the fleeing, because it'll mean you have more turns to prevent them from getting off the map. There are 3 exit points. There's one up this side, one up this side, and the other one they have to go through you. And I think if you're probably going to have a lot of melee characters, you're going to need to get up close to the spawn point, which is up here. So I'm just going to move Ray Case up. Now the characters that aren't fleeing, they're going to basically try and defend the fleers by attacking your team. And there we can see that character didn't really get very far because she's very seriously wounded. And so that's the first fleeing character taken out. I'll just take a shot at these ones, the defenders.
Sure thing.
Now another thing which has been added is enemy spawning. It was kind of necessary for the 2 new mission types, because if basically the full complement of survivalists, which may be about 10 for this mission, were spawned immediately and maybe 3 or 4 of them were trying to flee, you just wouldn't be able to do anything with it. So now enemies will periodically spawn. It's not in all levels. Sometimes all the enemies will appear immediately, but this character is also fleeing. So after the first turn, characters will begin to spawn, and I think every second one is a fleeing character. This may be, there'll be more balancing work to be done in this, but that's the basic idea. And I think this creates a kind of a nice new dynamic, because it forces you to kind of try and evaluate, who do we need to take out first. If you take out the defenders, you're going to take less damage, so that may be a viable option some of the time. If you let the characters get away, their gang gets more money, which they can use to recruit more members or to purchase equipment upgrades or things like that. So I think that's it's a nice addition to the game. And I'm going to go back now. I won't play through the mission because it would take around probably 15 minutes. I'll just kind of move on to the next one. Now I have a basic console that's been in the game for a while. It's more or less just if I want to test level or can add stat or perk points or money, just to test something. I can do it quickly. Let's see. I'll actually leave information on how to use the console, but you have to be aware that it might break the game, and if you're adding perk points or money, it's going to obviously break the balance. This is the escort mission, and you have a couple of options here. There's no dialogue just yet, but basically you have the option to either get moving, you can lockpick the gate, or you can bash it with strength. Your objective is to get the escort character to the exit point, which is here. Obviously, if we can get through that gate, it's going to make it a lot easier. It's going to significantly shorten the route. So go ahead and lockpick the gate, and that'll basically remove that as an obstruction. I'm not going to bother repositioning. And I think I'll just try and cover the distance because the characters aren't really all that skilled just yet. And this is the character you're going to have to escort. In this case, this is just a character that I've used from an encounter in the last update. So there will be a kind of a specific character for this encounter.
Understood.
Going forward.
Sure thing.
Now this required some new additions. It wasn't really just as simple as making the kind of an escort mission. I needed to kind of facilitate player fleeing as well, and that's quite a big hit there. and that in turn kind of created a situation where I needed to have different outcomes to level it. It's no longer just you take out the enemy team or they take out you. There could be a case now where your whole team withdraws, or you could have a case where your whole team is incapacitated, or some of them are incapacitated or withdraw. You could also take out all the enemies, and if you have an objective, there's a possibility that the enemy escapes, or sorry, the objective character who you're trying to escort escapes, but your team is incapacitated. So this has brought up quite a few new kind of possible outcomes for missions, and this is something that I've kind of got rough. It's kind of roughly working now. It allows for kind of different outcomes. So I'm not going to play through this mission either, but you get the basic idea of it. Also in this mission, enemies will start to spawn. Some of them will spawn behind you, some of them will spawn at your flee point and start moving towards you. I tried it with picking the closest spawn point to the escort character, and that didn't really work so well, so I changed it to allow for every second enemy to be spawned at the flee point. And I think this is a kind of pretty decent addition too for a couple of days. I think it adds a considerable amount of extra variety. You know, if you consider before there was only one kind of effectively mission type where you take out all the enemies, now there's 3, and I'll keep moving in this direction and see how much you can do. 2 new missions have been added in this, or 2 new maps have been added. One of them was for the survivalist encounter where they're trying to escape, and the second one was for the encounter which I'm just about to show you. This is a text encounter. Now this encounter was sponsored by Helena on Kickstarter, so thanks very much for sponsoring this, Helena. It's very much appreciated. In this encounter, basically what happens is a group of survivalists are attempting to kidnap the daughter of a wealthy industrialist, and your objective is to stop them. Now the character isn't playable. Effectively her bodyguard's just been taken down by survivalists and she's in shock, so she's not going to be able to help you in this case. So it's up to your team to take them down, and this is kind of a sort of an upmarket part of the city, you know, kind of high-end boutiques and that sort of thing. And just one last thing I'll mention before I go. Failing a mission no longer necessitates losing it, as I kind of suggested a moment ago. So if your team is taken down now, you just continue the game. You can of course reload if you want. This means that basically you're not forced to restart. You know, if you lose a mission, it allows you to, you know, it's okay to lose a couple of missions in the game. And that's pretty much it for this development video. I'll keep you posted in another development video around the time of release. So thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.